Hey guys, Hackster Tech here for another video, and today we're going to be talking about how you can make phone calls on any device, doesn't matter what carrier you use, whenever you don't have a cell signal. Now I'm going to be showing three main methods that you can use here. There are going to be a few different kind of quirks to each one. And not all of them are going to necessarily use your normal carrier service. The first one we're going to look at here is a little bit of a workaround as opposed to fixing the problem altogether, but it is a really good way to make calls and potentially a good way to completely work around the issue depending on what you want to do. So we're going to look at here, the first thing I wanted to talk about is how you can use Google Voice to actually work around this. And this is something a lot of people don't know about, but if you're ever in a situation where you want to work around the ability to make phone calls and you're in somewhere where you don't have maybe good reception, you can use Google Voice. And I'll preface this by saying that this is really most relevant to someone who's using either a phone that does not support Wi-Fi calling or who is using service that does not support Wi-Fi calling. So either you don't have it with your carrier or your phone just does not support it. In my particular case, I have Wi-Fi calling on my Note 9. My wife has a Huawei device, she has the Mate 20 Pro, and unfortunately that does not support Wi-Fi calling, so in that case, Wi-Fi calling is not going to help. It also does not support voice over LTE, which means that she is stuck using the cell signal. If the reception is very poor, then she's not going to be able to use that, and that's where you would use something like Google Voice, for example. Okay, so here I have Google Voice open, and we're going to go into the top left corner. We're going to click on this icon here. And now you're going to want to go ahead and click on the settings option. All right, and under settings, under the calls section, click on making and receiving calls. Click on this option here. And from the different options that are available here, you're going to see that there are two options, prefer Wi-Fi and mobile data or use carrier only. Now by default, the use carrier only option is going to be checked, and that's going to mean that it's using obviously your whatever carrier you use. If you don't have a signal, then you're not going to be able to make a Google Voice call. However, if you have the prefer Wi-Fi and mobile data option checked, then it's going to allow you to make a Wi-Fi call, and I'm just going to show you what that looks like right now. Alright, so here you can see that I've just done a quick test call to Best Buy here, but here you can see at the top, Google Voice Wi-Fi call. Now I do have Wi-Fi calling enabled on my device, so I do have the ability to use that, but if this was on a device, and I did test this on my wife's phone, for example, that does not support Wi-Fi calling and you are limited to using your carrier, the nice thing here is I can actually use my Google Voice number that I've set up with Wi-Fi, and this is a high quality call. You know, I've tested this several times, and it's just as good as the quality of doing a Wi-Fi call through T-Mobile's Wi-Fi calling, through a supported device, or any other carrier. Okay, so that's how you can use Google Voice to make Wi-Fi calls anytime you don't have a signal or you need a way to work around low reception. And the nice thing about that is you get your own separate phone number. So just to keep in mind here, if you do not have a Google Voice number set up already, you do need to create an account. You'll just need to do a Google search for Google Voice, go there and sign in with your Google account. From there, you're going to be able to create a brand new number, and you will need this new number to be able to use the service. But once you have that number set up, you can place calls or receive calls through that number, but optionally, you can also use your main phone number, whatever number you have assigned through your carrier, with Google Voice as well. So anytime someone calls your main phone number, you can have it route to Google Voice. And potentially you can even use Google Voice as your main service. You can even give people out your Google Voice number if you'd like, and they can call that number, and so you can kind of use that as your one-stop shop, minus of course if you have international calling that you need to do. So it's a really great option to work around limited call range, limited call access, or if you have bad reception, that's a really great way to work it around. But there are other options as well that you can use, and I'm going to show you those other two options as well. Now there's really just two options that I recommend outside of using Google Voice. for people who have bad reception and are trying to fix the problem. This next option here, now you can see this is a T-Mobile branded device, but I wanted to mention this because this is something that should be available for other carriers as well. Each carrier is going to have their own version or of some degree for these devices, or they may. I haven't checked obviously every single carrier, but most carriers have some form of cellular hotspot. I know that T-Mobile definitely does. Carriers like Verizon and AT&T would likely have something as well, but this is just with my service here, so it's an option, and you can definitely explore that with your carrier. Now with T-Mobile, what you can do is you can reach out to them, and once you contact their support, you can ask about the personal cell spot. And what this does is it latches on to an available signal, an LTE signal that is coming in, whether you put it near a window or somewhere where you're getting good signal in your house, and it's essentially amplifying that signal so that you can reach that signal in different parts of your house. So for example, if in your bedroom you get the best signal, and you put this in that room, and then when you're in your living room, for example, if you would usually have spotty coverage, if you have this thing powered on and working and connected to your service, then it should be amplifying the signal so that in the living room you're going to get as good of a signal as you would in your bedroom, for example. And there's obviously other different kinds of scenarios where this would be really useful. So this is a really great option. If you have T-Mobile, for sure, this is really awesome because you can actually just reach out to them, and it's a $25 device, or at least for me it was only a $25 device that you rent from them. There's no monthly fees or costs. For me at least, it was just one-time fee of $25, and if I ever return the device, if I ever decide either that I don't need it again, or if I switch to a different carrier, they actually refund that money as well. So it's even better with T-Mobile. But if you have another carrier, ask about available options for cell spots or boosters that might be available to increase your signal. And then finally, if you don't have either of those options available, if you either decide you do not want to use Google Voice for any reason, and if you don't have the option to ask about cell spots with your carrier or some form of booster, what you can alternatively do is you can buy a cell phone signal booster online. You can buy it on Amazon and other different sites, but Amazon definitely has a ton of different options to choose from. And this is not something that is carrier specific. So as opposed to the T-Mobile one, which for T-Mobile definitely has been the best option for me. But if you're using a different carrier, you can look into these options. And this is going to give you the ability to use any carrier that you want. So if you're on a carrier that does not have their own version, you can go in here, and all you have to do is make sure that it supports the correct bands. You can look up what bands your particular carrier uses and make sure it matches the description of whatever you're looking up on Amazon. So this particular one I'm looking at here is a Verizon one, and this is specifically because of the bands that it supports. It works best with Verizon, but you can obviously go in here and look for others that are going to work with different bands for different carriers and find something that'll be tailored through. So this is going to connect to a coaxial sort of connection in your home. You'll need to have it wired through the inside of the house, and then there's going to be a part that's going to go outside of your house. That antenna that you see there is going to need to be kind of mounted, or is going to need to be pointing towards the best area of your house that is nearest the tower that is emitting the signal. So if you know that that cell tower is maybe just north of the front of your house, you may want it pointed that direction and as close as there as possible. But obviously you're just going to put it somewhere outside of your home. Make sure that antenna is out and protruded so that it's going to latch on to the signal, and then that other piece that you see on the right there is going to amplify and emit the enhanced signal inside your home so that you can connect and get better service. And this is going to range, again, depending on which carrier you're using here. It can amplify the signal a pretty good amount as long as you are receiving some kind of a signal at your home, and can potentially bring you from 1 bar to maybe full bars, just like the T-Mobile branded device. But again, this is a great option for those who don't have that luxury, or if your carrier does not have that option. So those are the 3 options that I wanted to review with you guys today. 3 great ways to get service whenever you don't have either a good signal or reception in your area, or if you're just trying to boost that signal. It's really very easy to do that. Guys, be sure to check the description of this video. I will post some links to some of these signal boosters that I found on Amazon that seem to work pretty well. For the T-Mobile branded device, that's something that you will not find on Amazon. You're going to just need to contact your carrier about that. So if it's T-Mobile, T-Mobile, or again, just ask the question to your carrier. But many of these you will not find online, so you'll need to reach out to them directly to actually find out about it. And of course, Google Voice, just do a search for that. You'll be able to find that very easily and create an account if you don't have it. But I will post the links to some of those Amazon items in the description as well. If you guys would like to support this channel, there are other options in the channel description here or in this video description where you can go ahead and get some free items or free services, and you'll be supporting the channel by either getting free stock, signing up for free accounts for some services there. So definitely check the description. There's some great stuff in there that will get you some free little perks, but will also be supporting the channel financially. That's it for this video, guys. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.